Hello, everybody. Ian here.
Matt here as well.
Welcome to another episode of Dream Talk. Exciting stuff today. The purpose of Dream Talk is really just to, let everybody know the inside scoop of working with the dream. And so we like to, kind of have our core members of our organization to come on and kind of talk about their experience. So today we have Samantha, who is our strength and conditioning coach, with us today.
Hi, everyone.
There she is. Hi,
This guy's
Samantha.
been working, so hope everybody's had a good day, enjoyed the weather. It's been nice out.
Yeah, so I just introduced you to everybody. It's very brief, just strength and conditioning coach, but can you tell us more, like, what do you do with the dream?
I initially came on with a dream to basically be their performance coach. So it was strength and conditioning and, kind of building that competitive edge again. Because some players hadn't been around or in the game, or some were coming from a lower level and wanting to, get into that semi-professional. It is a big jump. So you gotta mentally prepare just as much as physically prepare. And things like that. So that's kind of how I came on. And actually it was Albert's brother, Chris, who basically was like, hey, you need to meet my brother, what he's trying to do. And he's trying to advance, his team. And then it was a lunch with Albert, the beginning of season 3, right before that. Mm-hmm. And the rest has been history. At this point that we're just trying to keep moving forward and, put the team on the map here.
Yeah, so I guess taking a step back, like, how did you initially started in sports? Like, what got you interested in working in sports?
I started in dance class when I was 3. I was doing something, and then it kind of spilled into, that competitive edge from my parents of, everything had to be a game, everything was a competition. And then sports just kind of rolled into it by the time I was about 7. And I was always the taller one, not anymore, but I was always the taller and more athletic one. So it was just kind of more sports on top and extracurriculars. And I was a 3-sport athlete and, I quit dance because of sports, because I just couldn't fit everything in. I would have been a black belt by now if I would have had time for that too. And it's just, you kind of, sports is my life at this point, being an athletic trainer, it was that or an orthopedic surgeon. And, I chose this route from, to be the front lines of injuries and to bring kids back and to still get seasons and stuff like that. And, now I'm your go-to person, I guess, if you need something real quick. I know a few helpful guys in the sports medicine world too. So
yeah, so you mentioned you played 3 sports growing up. So what are those sports?
So I played volleyball, basketball, softball. I've played softball since I was 7. That's perks of being tall. You can pretend that your birthday was a year sooner. And then, injuries plagued me and I ended up with a shoulder surgery 4 years after I should have had it done. It finally died playing volleyball in college. I just knew I couldn't maintain softball at the level that I was playing at with the shoulder. So I did switch to volleyball and I still play competitive now. I play with co-ed, I play beach, I play grass, doubles. And then I play indoor 6s with women's. And our team is probably one of the older teams in the league, and we are in the championship, more times than not. So it's just staying active and all that stuff. So
yeah, you never stop being an athlete.
No, mentally I can't shut it off. Physically I keep blowing body parts, so it's making the adjustments and things like that. But I got friends who are like, let's do a Spartan race, and I'm like, cardio, I don't know how I feel about that. Let me throw weight or let me hit something and I'll be good, but we'll see.
Okay, so Samantha, can you tell us about one or several of your favorite, experience working with the Dream?
Oh, I think my favorite was last year's Throwback Night. I mean, it was I had been, pestering Albert. I'm like, listen, we got to do something. We got to do something. Like, I want a throwback night. Like, I want short shorts. I want headbands. I want the high socks. Like, let's get it. And he appeased me for as best as he could. And I mean, it was a great night. Shout out also to like Lancaster Thunder because they were team sports as well. Like they got jerseys as well and dressed to the nines, their full organization. And we had a blowout party at the country club as well. And I mean, then it was a surprise birthday party. So, I mean, it was a great night. And then we turned around and went back out there and had an additional, throwback night. So, I mean, I think that was where the community came in. It came off a kids' night and we just really, everyone had fun. And it was a good game to watch and, just crowd involvement and everything like that. It was nice to see in this area for an upper level sport match. So
Yeah.
some of the other ones, I think just our early morning practices that we had in season 3, like those guys we were going at 5 a.m. Like, let's be honest, it was brutal. We were all exhausted. We were all working other jobs and coming in and getting stuff done. And those guys gave me everything they had. And it was a competition as to, who could Sam make throw up today? Who could change their shirt 5-6 times in an hour's practice because they were so sweaty and disgusting. And, it was the guys would come in and they knew that if they were late, what was coming. If they saw my Jeep in the parking lot, because I beat them all there. And things like that, they were like, oh, the black Jeep of death is here again. Or if I didn't show up because of the weather, they thought they had a day off and then I'd show up a different day. And it was, I think those memories were like, no one was ever there. It was a closed gym and it was me and the guys. Like Coach Rick wasn't even there. It was just, I mean, brutal. Like it was a good time for me. I enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, so I know you said you jumped on board season 3.
Yeah.
And now we're heading into, the end of season 5 and season 6. What kept you, around? I know you have, you work with the school and you have your own spin classes and everything, but you still make time to come to, dream events and keep the guys in shape. What kind of keeps you around the Dream?
I think the message, I think giving back to the community and putting, upper level sports back on the map. You haven't seen many people make it out of this area, but it's not impossible. And, that was part of the reason I, started, Mo Fitness through Parisi Speed School, and things like that was to kind of give back to the community of things that, we didn't have as kids growing up here. Like I'm born and raised in Clearfield. I mean, I was born in DuBois, but I grew up in Clearfield and things like that. And I left and came back, so, talking with Albert and understanding what he was trying to do and, bring to, central Pennsylvania, I bought right in. And, to now see the AAU and us trying to elevate those kids to, play at those upper levels because you're seeing a decline in sports that, you're seeing a decline in 3 sport athletes, let alone, 1 sport athlete or those kids going and playing at any type of level, whether or not it's a junior college, a D3, or even in the big show, D1 and getting looks, to go overseas, trying to make Olympic teams in certain sports. You're just seeing the decline and you want to bring it back because that there are kids here that have the capabilities if they were only given the tools that you see in Pittsburgh and the bigger areas that, they have the facilities to, strength train and speed train and play their sport all year round and be in different teams and tournaments and stuff. And we just don't have that here. And we're trying to build it. Like, it's like the field of dreams. If you build it, they'll come. Well, we're working on it. Like, bear with us. Like, we're trying. So we're just trying to do what we can to, give everyone an opportunity. So.
Yeah. I mean, as we talked to, Albert and you and Coach Rick, this theme kept coming up. It's just having access to things. And I know, during the AAU practices, you always have something for them to do.
Oh, yeah, always.
And I know some of the kids want to know, what do they have to do to get to that next level,
I mean, it's the small things. It's the attention to detail. And it's the things that, are boring. It is, you're tired, but guess what? I'm not going to just pack it up and go in and go home. I'm going to do 5 more reps, or I'm going to break things down and I'm going to make sure that my form is correct. I'm going to make sure that I'm strong. I'm going to make sure that my ball handling skills are, at the best of my ability. I'm going to push myself out of my comfort zone of being safe. And that's a scary, scary place. And when you throw COVID on top of it, everybody was even worse off, because you became comfortable at just where you are. But coming out of COVID, the kids that have been working and the kids that are going to put in that extra time and stay late after practice, or, reach out to me, reach out to Albert, reach out to Coach Rick and say, how can you help me? We're going to find a way to help you. But you have to ask. I mean, I've literally gotten up at 3:00 in the morning, to work out with kids at 5. I've stayed late and, to work out with kids at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'll sleep for 3 hours. It's fine. I'll take a nap maybe, maybe someday when I die or something. I don't know. But you just have to ask, and you have to want to, be able to also take the coaching, and things like that. And don't think that everything. That seems to be a big issue too, is they're like, well, that's how I do it. Okay, well, if you want to do more, or you want to make 10 out of 10, let's do this. Let's try this. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else. So you just have to be a willing participant.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So one last question. Like I said, we're wrapping up season 5, heading to season 6. What, excites you about this new season? What are you looking forward to?
I just think, like, progressing through, trying to make, continuing the dream as to be competitive, and, to get the local talent, and, to get those guys to, continue to move forward. And then also to bring the AAU kids up with it, and make them competitive and bring the spark back, and things like that. You see, some of the OGs, the Finkslers, like Jude and Lisa, like watching them play on the 3-on-3. There's a reason that they are playing at such a high level still, and things like that, because they put in the work. So we want to make sure that we're, passing the baton and leaving another legacy for the next generation to, hey, let up the ante here, and do things and have more opportunities that, we just weren't given because they didn't exist, and things like that. So it'd be nice to see some of these kids, that are really having great high school seasons, and the junior high kids, and even the little smidgens, to really just, excel to their best of their ability and to have fun. I think bringing the athletic spark back.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Matt, do you have
You're
any?
welcome.
Yeah, Sam, there is one thing I wanted to ask you about, and we're kind of backtracking a little bit, but you've been around for a few seasons. Things change every year. We got to do a combine this year, which was the first time
Yes.
they'd done a combine. You had a big role in the combine, and I wanted to make sure we asked you about that. What were your thoughts on the combine? What do you think that can look like going forward? And just talk about that, because like I said, it's always evolving, and that was kind of the new evolution this year on your end.
Yeah, I mean, stats don't lie. You want to be able to see what progression is and everything like that. So when we did the combine, we wanted to, make it as elevated and elite as possible. What are you seeing in the NBA? What are you seeing at a D1 college? How are they choosing those people? And we were like, we need to bring those tests and those evaluations, to, our team. And eventually we would love to bring this to the AAU levels. Because if we can get them and get their base numbers, and along with Coach Rick, get their shooting numbers, we can then put them through weight training programs, speed programs, and shooting programs, and work together and really elevate talent to levels that they didn't even expect themselves to make. And you can see those things, if you could broad jump, 7 feet, and then we put you through a plyometric program, there's a good chance that maybe you hit 8 feet, 9 feet. Okay, now from a defensive standpoint, I can cover more ground. You're not going to get past me now. I can make a different play if I can, shoot better on the free throw line. So it's just an elevation in performance, to just add and to bring insight of, because people don't know what that they even test. Most people know that football has a combine because you see it on, going into the draft, but a lot of professional sports have their own combine testing. So we just wanted to give an elite, version of, hey, if you think you have it, then show up and show your skills, and things like that. And if not, it's a way to help where there's a problem. And things like that, or we can come up with injury, like, hey, I use it as an injury assessment as well, and things to fix. So there's a lot of tools that we use out of that. But the main goal here now is to bring it to the AAU kids, because it's going to be the most beneficial for them. I'd like to bring it in, for the junior high kids, that 12-year-old, and run it all the way through high school.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I'm excited to see how it continues to develop.
Yeah, right now it's just gym space and time. That's kind of
Right.
our issue right now. I'm like, if it was a day like today, we'd have ran the whole thing outside. Because that's my wheelhouse. I will find a way. If I can't do it inside, I will find a way to get it done. And things, and everyone's like, outside. I'm like, I'll find a basketball court outside. I'll find a grassy area outside. Numbers are numbers, and things like that. But it just gives you, kids are always saying, you're like, I don't understand why I'm not playing, or you can't dispute numbers. If a kid's even, that's what coaches are going to go by. That's what coaches go by. Unless you just happen to be 7 feet tall. Well, then, I can't compete with 7 feet tall. I'm 5'9". Like, it is what it is. I gotta be able to dunk or something over someone 7 feet if I'm playing in the professional league. But but that's the basis behind us pulling that in, was, trying to get the right guys, and, just for people to see where they're at realistically. So.
Yep, and it goes right back to what you were talking about with the AAU program, and being willing to put in the extra effort and those kind of things, and ask for the help,
Yeah.
and make those extra strides forward. So it all comes back together.
Yeah, because everybody knows what their one thing they're good at when it comes to their sport. Like, basketball was my third sport. I can't shoot. I needed Coach Rick back then. I could shoot foul shots. But my job, that wasn't my role. My role was defense. So you would have seen that my vertical jump was well, because I had to rebound, and you would have seen that I had a strong base and things like that to take charges, and, just to battle against, girls that were 6'2", because that's where my coach wanted me to play. He wanted me to play against, their 6-footers. And I was like, well, this seems terrible, but okay. And he's like, don't foul out. I'm like, well, now you're asking for a whole lot. But it's, you would have known where my strengths were from a combine perspective, that I should have excelled in certain areas of the combine. Probably the bench press would have been mine, the broad jump, the vertical jump, and some of the defensive, cutting drills and things like that. That's where I would have excelled. and some of my teammates, they would have shot lights out, in Coach Rick's assessments and things like that. So you would have known where to put us in the breakdown. So you can balance your team out.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Samantha, for coming on
You're welcome.
Dream Talk. Welcome back anytime.
Well, thank you. You let me know. I'll come back.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of Dream Talk. Matt, do you have any last thoughts?
Nope, that's it, Sam. Thanks for being on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, guys. Well, stay tuned for the next week's episode, and we'll see you everybody soon.
See
Bye.
ya.